Tonight we're examining the latest troubling announcement from the Sewerage and Water Board, which says its drainage system is out of cash. Good evening, I'm Natalie Shepard.
And I'm Karen Swenson. Well, that revelation has resulted in a lot of anxiety, with residents worrying what will happen if we get severe storms.
And as Jacqueline Quinn discovered, the board will still be able to respond to emergencies, but there's one thing to watch down the line, and it's something we all use.
Ask one of the many businesses near Broad Street where flooding was among the worst, August 2017, about the Sewerage and Water Board running out of cash on hand for its drainage system, and the response is a lot alike.
A little fearful. We flood at hard rains.
Tracy Alonzo runs Orleans Sheet Metal Works.
I guess I would wonder where they're pulling the money from, so a service is going to be cut.
We followed up with S&WB to find out. The board told us today, don't panic, the pumps will still work and operations will continue as normal. But the big question, will this affect you, the customer? A spokesperson tells us S&WB isn't laying anyone off or cutting shifts, and there is no plan to charge customers more money. Now, in order to keep everything running, the board is shuffling money around from sewer and water reserves, much like dipping into savings. As a result, several projects through the board will be pushed back through next year, including improving the sewer system at South Shore Basin number 3, installing a dryer to help remove waste at the East Bank wastewater treatment plant, and then notably delaying work at the Carrollton Water Plant Engineering Building. But what's that?
Well, it's essentially a water treatment facility, and it's where many of us in New Orleans get our drinking water.
The work needed here includes repairs to roofing, demolition, and about $11 million to improve the plant's chemical storage and feed facility, or rather, what's used to keep water safe.
Now you're dealing with people's health. You have small children, you have elderly, you have all kinds of people.
For now, all the work is only being delayed, which raises the potential that repairs will get more expensive later.
I mean, what's going on?
The explanations don't make a lot of sense to Alonzo, who thinks the board doesn't have to look beyond billing problems for help. Near Broad Street, Jacqueline Quinn, Eyewitness News.
Well, the Sewerage and Water Board is looking for other sources of revenue, including $23.6 million in FEMA reimbursement payments. Along with 3 property millages collected in December, the agency could have $53 million by the first quarter of next year. And we will have continuing coverage in the Down the Drain section of our website, as well as the dedicated Facebook group. Our investigative team and coverage partners are providing a lot of information on all of the different issues the Sewerage and Water Board is facing. You can even share your concerns about problems in your neighborhood. Just look for the Down the Drain section in the menu.